Peace and love, family. It's Devon and Jen, and we are Chameleon Love. So look, Jen and I recently, so I always tell you guys that our lives, our marriage isn't perfect, right? We have arguments and disputes and disagreements just like everybody else. And so most recently, we had one of our biggest disagreements or arguments probably in a long time. And so I just kind of wanted to break down what led up to it, what happened, and how we're working through it. So you guys can see in real time that regardless of how much years of experience you have or how much information you think you know, again, we are not experts. We're high performing students, but even high performing students don't always get 100 on their test. So the situation that happened was I set up a lovely evening for us to go out on a date Saturday night. I scheduled a reservation at Ruth Chris in downtown Atlanta. Our intention was to go and have a good time. So our oldest son had a game. The game started at 5. The reservation, mind you, is at 8:30. His game is at 5. It ends at 6. We should get home no later than 6:30, get dressed, and get prepared to go on our date. Well, that didn't quite happen like that. Once we left from the game, her and our youngest two went somewhere else, and me and my oldest son, we went home. So I started getting dressed, getting prepared, thinking that she was going to be back by a certain time, because you know how y'all women do. Y'all take a long time to get ready. So I'm thinking all the time. So I'm thinking like, okay, it'll be, it might take like an hour to get dressed and ready and, makeup, hair, whatever it is that you're going to do. Cool. Well, an hour kind of goes by, and now it's like 7:15-ish, and she's just pulling up in the driveway. And I'm like, okay. So I already know we're not going, because I don't like rushing, and I don't like being late. And so I knew that was going to take care of both of us. And if you know anything about Ruth Chris, they usually have a pretty packed crowd, and there's no chance that you can reschedule your reservation for later on that evening. I picked that specific time because it was available amongst few times that were available. And so I was like, okay, well, now we're not going. And so I got into a mood. I got in my feelings. I ain't even gonna lie. I got in my feelings. And so she was like, oh, babe, I'm sorry. We can go somewhere else. So after she said we can go somewhere else, I'm still in my feelings, because I'm like, well, I didn't want to go anywhere else. I specifically chose this restaurant for a reason, and now we're not going there. To you guys, you may be looking at it like, that's not a big deal. Just go somewhere else. But I had a gift card. Let's put that in mind. And Ruth Chris ain't cheap. So I had a gift card. So that was one thing. But then we get in a car, and you suggested we go to another restaurant. It's called Seesaw. Seesaw has 2 locations. She calls, she makes a quick reservation for us. We're driving, and now I'm in a mood. I will say that I'm in a mood.
So
I'm in my feelings.
What is being in a mood? Like, tell them.
I don't want to talk. Like, being in the mood is I don't want to talk in that moment. Like, I don't have anything to say. I'm hot because I felt disrespected that you didn't adhere to the reservation that we had prepared. I felt it was inconsiderate, and so I was in my feelings. So she made this reservation at this restaurant, and I was like, okay. So I put it in the GPS. We're driving down the road. I'm like, which location? You did do it for this location, right? And she was like, well, I don't know. Let me see. Calls back, and it's the different restaurant that I had put in my GPS, the other location. So now I got to change direction of where we're going.
We weren't there yet.
No, we weren't there, but still, it changed direction a little bit. So now in my mind, I'm like, if we had just stuck to the plan, wouldn't have to worry about this. We'd actually be about to eat our food, or at least just arriving, because by this time, it's like 8. It's like 8 o'clock. Reservation for 8:30. I live 45 minutes away from the city, and then another 10 minutes to park, or whatever the case is. So it was all out of whack.